Hey Libras, welcome to my channel. This is Lotus Magic, and tonight I am bringing you um, a different type of reading. And the theme of this reading is based on The Wiz. It's one of my favorite movies, and it's one of those movies that really, as I've gotten older, I have an appreciation for because it really it's inspirational about to me about the journey we take to reach our highest selves or to get to any sort of destination that we're trying to get to, the transformation we have to go through to get there. It's also a movie to me that takes you through the chakras, to ultimately reach that point of your higher self where you're able to manifest your dreams. So this is a 9 card spread, and I'm gonna go ahead and get started because I'm trying to wrap up my videos now in about 30 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and as I go through the cards, I will tell you what they represent as it pertains to the movie. So for Libras this month, happy birthday to you. Um, it seems that your theme is definitely relationships. And I say that because, of course, the energy that I'm pulling definitely has a lot to do with relationships. But I feel like for many Libras, you're kind of at an impasse. You're at an impasse in your relationship. And you're kind of at this, this is kind of like driving down a road, and then you're driving all the way down the road. The map is telling you where to go, GPS, whatever you use, and then you realize that the GPS did not pick up this road closed sign. So many of you guys are at a road closed sign as it pertains to your relationships, and instead of turning around and going back to where you started, which is with yourself, being single, and then trying to create a relationship that is for you. Many of you are still sitting in your car in front of this road closed sign, trying to figure out how you're going to get past it to continue on the path that you want to take with it. Ignoring the road closed sign, ignoring the fact that beyond that sign there may be some danger. You're completely trying to go around divine protection that the universe has set in place for you, um, to encourage you to take a new route. And so many of you guys are stuck here. However, if we look at this card, we see we have the moon. The moon represents secrets, things that are unknown. There may be something beyond that road closed sign that you're not aware of, because in your mind, immediately behind that road closed sign, you're like, well, the path is clear. I can't see anything. I don't even understand why this road is closed, why there's a block, why I can't get through. So I'm sure that if I just find a way around it, I will be able to be on my merry way, going about the path that I set out to go on. However, there is something behind that road closed sign that you are ignoring, and it is your divine protection. That road closed sign is your divine protection, protecting you from something that you don't need to be a part of, some sort of danger, some sort of um, heartbreak, secrets, whatever it is. It's not the path for you to take, and it's time for you to stop being at an impasse and take a new route. This card is asking you to ask yourself how adaptable you are. It's also asking you to ask, how are you reacting to the delays? Okay. Are you recognizing it as, if it doesn't flow, I don't go? Or are you reacting in a way where it's, I want to go, even if it doesn't flow, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to go anyway. It's time to reevaluate that. Okay. Um, and maybe understand that if you choose to go on the current path, understand that you are setting yourself up for probably a bigger disaster than just having to go back and reroute. Yes, you may lose some time, but losing a little bit of time by not trying to force something is way, way better than trying to force something and causing yourself a major, major disaster. So for that card, the main idea is changing directions, refocusing. So many of you guys are at an impasse. Do I stay? Do I go? Do I try to keep going on the path that I want to, which is probably your ego, versus understanding divine wisdom, divine protection, and taking the route that is the safest, and understanding that a better path has already been laid out for you to take. All you need to do is trust yourself and take that new path. Okay. So that is the tornado card, and I call that the tornado card because if you watch the movie The Wiz, Wizard of Oz, whatever, they're kind of the same. Um, the whole catalyst of that movie that kind of shifted Dorothy's whole entire like reality was the tornado. Okay. And so just thinking about a tornado, how a tornado can come through and basically destroy, you know, a perfectly good, house, um, and even in the aftermath of a tornado, one has to decide if they're going to rebuild this home or if they're going to move and find a new home where there are no tornadoes. All right, the Dorothy card. What is the true self in search of? Okay, because the whole basis of that movie was Dorothy trying to discover who her true self was, and really going through this journey to discover that everything she had was within her. She just had to, believe in her true self. For you, Libra, your true self is the Queen of Coins. So for many of you Libras, you are in search of independence. You are in search of a relationship that nurtures you. You are in search of financial independence. And perhaps the reason why you're kind of stuck at this roadblock sign is because maybe you don't have enough money to put in your tank to get back. So now you're kind of like, do I go? If I take a new path, I'm going to have to figure out how to fill my tank before I can even do it. And so that's making me, I know I had just enough gas to get to go on the path, that I was on. So using that gas to go back and start over is I may run out of gas. I don't have enough in my tank, and I don't have enough, money or energy or time or whatever to go back. But for many Libras, it's a financial thing. It's definitely a financial reason that has you at an impasse. And right now, your true self is searching for an opportunity to get your finances in order, to be financially independent, to be nurtured, even nurturing yourself. Like your true self wants to even have you want to nurture yourself on a higher level. Okay, love yourself a little bit more. My Scarecrow card. What is the mind in search of? I mean, this really speaks for itself, Libra. You are in search. Your mind is in search of the world. You are ready for expansion. on a mental level. You are ready to um, create a new world. And though this is what you want, it's almost like your true higher self, your mind wants this, but your ego gets in the way and says, but stay here, stay here. Try to get past this obstacle and you'll have all of that you want. Okay? But your mind is in search of expansion. You want to try new things, you want to go to new places, you want to meet new people. You just want to expand and you want to see what opportunities are out there for you right now. And that's what your mind is at. And that's a good place to start, because that visualization is necessary, to even start getting the wheels turning on manifesting any new opportunity that you want. So start trusting your mind, and your mind is definitely leading you on the right place, but you're stuck at the roadblock sign. And that's what we need to get past if you want to reach that expansion that you really desire in your mind. You want to be, intellectually, you want to gain new intellectual perspectives and mindsets and things like that. You want to be, gain some, learn a new skill, go back to school. You even, if we're talking about relationships, you even want to know what it feels like to be in a relationship that feels good, like truly feels good, that really helps you expand. A relationship that's expansion. And perhaps the relationship you're in right now is very constricting, because you may be dealing with a person who has a certain type of mindset and they're not growing. And because you're tolerating this relationship, it's blocking you from growing. So in order to really elevate, sometimes you have to separate. All right, Tin Man, what is your heart in search of? Your heart, okay, is really in search of just emotions, okay? It's a feeling. You're in search of a feeling. And what your heart wants is for you to get rid of this Seven of Cups energy, which is like disarray, confusion. Okay, you're like tired of being in this confusing relationship, okay, where you may not know where you stand one day, you do, you don't, there's possibly a lot of secrets and things going on, and it causes you a lot of confusion, and your heart really just wants to be fulfilled. It wants to feel that harmony. It wants your dreams to come true. It really wants you to be in a relationship that gives you total emotional, like, fulfillment, okay, happiness. And your heart knows that in order to do this, the confusion and disarray has to go. Okay, and it's possible that the confusion is coming because the person that you're dealing with has multiple partners. Okay, and perhaps that's what's creating the impasse, because maybe you're holding an energy of, I'm not gonna let him go or her go so somebody else can have them. Okay, but that's like keeping yourself bonded. Okay, instead of looking at it from a perspective of, look, if I'm not gonna get it, they're probably not gonna get it, and the only reason why we're all here in this situation is because we all allow this person to do as they please. And I imagine, if all of the options were to put their foot down, it may not be any of you. So it's still a risk to sit around and have that mindset that, I'm gonna wait it out because he's gonna choose me, she's gonna choose me. I know I'm the one. The others are just something to do. All of that self-sabotaging that we do just to try to not have our egos blown. Okay? Your heart wants happiness, okay? And you're not getting true happiness. You may get momentary, times of pleasure, or like I said, perhaps this person you're with, the money makes you hold on, or it's like going through the roller coaster of someone who comes in, sweeps you off your feet, or and then they kind of go on to the next situation. You don't know when you're going to get that feeling again. That can even become an addicting, toxic pattern too. Especially if you're dealing with like a narcissistic person. They know exactly what to do to like keep you attached, even though they know they're going to walk away, it's going to hurt. Then they know how to like cycle out the energy where they keep you in a state of like disarray, confusion, just long enough to wean you back in. Like right before you're like, I'm done, I'm going to walk away. They wean you back in, fill your cup up for a moment, and then go. But you're not really happy with that because it's momentary, You're not getting that on a constant basis. And that's not fair to you. Because Libra, you're a very compromising individual. Libras are very compromising. And I my ex is a Libra, and I have to say, though he was the reason why our relationship is no longer, in the midst of the battles, the arguing and everything, he has such a cool temperament, and he does a lot to like avoid the confrontation, to avoid the conflict, to avoid arguing with me, to do that. Like he really does try to do that. To the point where he probably sometimes compromises how he really like truly feels, like he really wants to cuss me out. But he doesn't, because he doesn't want to be in the conflict, and that could be the problem here. You're not speaking your truth in this situation because you don't want to be the conflict, but you also are the one dealing with the inner conflict, the emotional conflict, right? And that's not fair. People have to be accountable for their actions, and people should have the right in a relationship to state when they're not happy without feeling like the relationship is conditional. As long as I go do things your way, or as long as I make you happy, then everything's good. Either way, whatever you're not getting, you're not supposed to have it. And instead of sticking around trying to fight it out, and I don't know, instead of trying to stick around and fight it out, you're trying to stick around and fight it out instead of saying, maybe this just isn't for me. I know I'm good enough to find somebody that deserves me. I'm gonna take another route. All right. My lion cards. Of course, the lion deals with courage. To me, the lion deals with like that inner child, ego kind of energy. And what your inner child is searching for is like that your inner child is wanting to leave the past behind. Like your inner child wants to walk away. Your inner child wants you to leave the past behind and move on. And perhaps this is going to help heal your inner child, because maybe the reason why you're still stuck in this kind of relationship has to do with, something that happened in your childhood. Maybe the way that you were raised to perceive how relationships are supposed to go, but it's not really true to your nature. And so you're battling with that. Perhaps it's the relationships that you've seen. Perhaps it's just maybe you've known this person a long time And your inner child is like, dude, we're not children anymore. We're not young anymore. And it's time to move on from all this past behavior that maybe I tolerated back then, but I don't want to deal with it now. Okay? And your inner child wants you to persevere and start guarding yourself from the drama so that you can move on. Guard your heart. Be defensive. Stop being, naive and gullible and hopeful that the situation's going to change, because it may not. And that it's not going to change because it's not the right path for you. And things will get a little easier when you decide that it's okay to be by yourself until the right one comes. And I know that's hard for Libra. Libra's like, Libras feel imbalanced when they're not in a relationship. So the thought of being single might be what's keeping you stuck to this situation too. And you're going to have to take that risk, because there's no greater partnership than the partnership you have with yourself anyway. Clearly, if you're still on this path of trying to make a relationship work that isn't meant to work, you don't have a good relationship with yourself, and that should be the bigger priority right now. And maybe that's what your inner child wants you to heal. Maybe you didn't build that relationship with yourself as a child. And so as a result, you're attracting, these types of relationships that with people who really don't love you. Like, or maybe they are loving you like you love yourself. And maybe that's just it. You're not loving yourself enough. All right. The Wiz card. Now, if you've seen The Wiz or The Wizard of Oz, whichever you like, we know that there came, when Dorothy finally made it to The Wiz, she realized that The Wiz had no power. Okay? So to me, The Wiz represents the false self. Okay? And this card for here is asking how the false self needs to be dismantled. And again, just from what I was saying, piggybacking off what I was saying, we have here the Two of Cups. And I feel like the only way to dismantle this false sense of self, especially as it pertains to this relationship, this false sense of self that keeps telling you that, if you give it a little bit more time, or I'm the one, I'm strong, I can deal with it. This is just how relationships go. All men are like this, and blah, blah, blah. A little bit more of self-love will help you break down that false self. It will dismantle that false self. Building a better partnership with yourself. Now, typically Two of Cups is kind of like connecting with someone else, but I feel like before you're going to really be able to find and be in that relationship that you really deserve, you're going to have to be in that relationship that you really deserve with yourself. You're going to have a really good sense of self-love before you attract that person. So it's really time for you to embrace being single, to find the balance within yourself, your masculine and feminine energy. There's nothing wrong with being single, and looking at being single as being lonely is probably going to keep you tied to people that you don't need to be with, just to avoid it. So it's really time to get a sense of unity and balance within yourself, getting that self-love in order, and then from that point, trying to attract someone who's going to love and nurture you the way that you really nurture yourself, okay? Because the moment you begin to love yourself properly, you're going to find that it's easier for you to detect people who aren't loving you properly and be able to walk away. Okay? You're going to be able to say a lot easier, you're not loving me like I love me, and I have to walk away. And that's strength. That's power to be able to do that. All right. What negative emotions are holding you bondage? This is my Wicked Witch card. The negative emotions that are holding you bondage is this feeling like I put in all this hard work. Um, I've been carrying this relationship, on my back for I don't know how many years. I've been with this man or woman for I don't know how many years. And I've been putting in all this work. I'm not just going to let them go. You know, it's kind of like that Ring the Alarm song by Beyonce. That's what keeps coming to me. Ring the alarm. I don't feel like singing, but yeah, it's that, like, ring the alarm, right? I'm not going to let you go so she can rock the chinchilla first. No. Yeah, but that's bondage. That's holding you bondage, especially when you're not even really happy. You're not even really happy in this situation. Even if there were no other options, you probably wouldn't even be happy with this person because it's not the person you're supposed to be with. So you're wasting time and energy by continuously telling yourself that you're going to persevere, and you're persevering not even in happiness. You're persevering in, like, this, it's a burden. Okay, maybe it's money again because it's coins. Maybe it's money. Maybe you just don't have it all the way together financially the way you want to walk away. But you're going to have to just take that risk, because no financial gain from a relationship is worth being treated less than you're deserving to be treated. Okay? All right, my yellow brick road card. This is the card that represents what's blocking your path to enlightenment. And for me, enlightenment is not just spiritual enlightenment, ascension. To me, it's any path that um, is lit for you. And when I say a path is lit for you, it's because it's the way you're supposed to go. So there are no blockages. You don't have the moon, you have the sun. How are you blocking the sun on your path? Well, you're doing that with the Eight of Swords, and you're doing that by blocking, by this mental imprisonment you have yourself in, because Swords is mental energy. You're like in a mental prison with this situation, holding all your negative thoughts in your head while smiling and pretending and being with your partner and acting like you're happy and, all that kind of stuff. But mentally, you're like dying on the inside. Okay? Um, so it's time to get yourself out of this mental prison. Um, if you're playing the victim in the situation, please recognize that you're not a victim. Okay? And this victimhood that you're taking on, energy you're taking on, is the reason why you can't walk away. Because, we go through this period of, like, well, I'm the victim in this situation, so I'm going to stick around until he sees that he's the one that's done me wrong, and then he'll do me right once he realizes he's done me wrong. Trying to convince someone that they owe you something because they're the ones that did you wrong is like victim. And it's like, why? Don't focus on being a victim. Be victorious. Okay? And being victorious means that you know your worth, you know your value, and you don't settle for anything less than that. Okay? You're not trapped in this situation. Okay? The roadblock is only going in one direction. The road is blocked in one direction. Okay? There's no roadblock if you head back the way you came, which is being single until you find someone who's worth the mingle. So you're not stuck. Okay, you can stop, telling people that you don't know what to do. You're stuck. You're trapped, and all that. You're not. Even if it's financial, you're not trapped. You just need to work on refocusing your energy, especially in your sacral chakra, to create a new path. Because that's what the divine wants you to do anyway. That's why there's the block. Okay? So now we're at the Emerald City. Okay? The Emerald City, of course, is basically the final destination. And that's what it represents to me. The final destination of the heart. Like, this is the point where your heart's desire is finally coming true. And you have the Ace of Coins, Libra. So, with healing, and this is what I ask with this card. With healing, what does the future hold? Well, Libra, for you, with healing, and that's key, healing. Okay, you cannot heal in the same environment that got you sick. So at some point, if you decide to take a new route, okay, on the way back where you started, you will be healing. Okay? You are going to open yourself up for attraction of new financial opportunities. Okay? You will, your finances, prosperity, you will start to see a more of an abundance of flow, because at this point, to continue on this path is blocking your blessings. There are no blessings on the other side of that roadblock sign. Only lessons. There's lessons if you keep going. So it's time for you to ask yourself, Libra, if you want to continue learning lessons or set yourself up for your blessings. All right, Libra, happy birthday, happy new year, happy solar return, and until next time, love and light.